Welcome to The Broken Nurse, the podcast where we explore the exciting world of being broken in a job that's supposed to be about healing. I'm your host, a completely well adjusted nurse who definitely hasn't screamed into her pillow 5 times today already. And by well adjusted, I mean hanging on by a thread. So let's dive right in. Hey there, I'm Rissa Lynn, your favorite overcaffeinated, underappreciated, probably overdue for a vacation nurse. I've been a nurse for 5 years, but I've been in healthcare for over 20, which means I've seen some things and smelled things that can never be unseen or unsmelled, if you catch my drift. The NCLEX, easiest test I ever took. Seriously, nursing school was way worse. I graduated with my associates in 2020 at the ripe old age of 38, and then snagged my bachelor's in 2021. And now I'm halfway through my master's. Would I do it all over again? Not even if you promised me lifetime PTO and a personal respiratory therapist. Before the RN badge, I was a CNA for 20 years, wiping, lifting, and surviving on caffeine and sarcasm. My first RN job was on a PCU, cardiac step down unit, which is hilarious because I hate cardiac, despise it. I'm a lung girl. I spent 7 years doing pulmonary research, testing new respiratory drugs. So, yeah, hand me your trachs, your vents, and your weird oxygen setups. I got you. Then came new grad orientation. And that's when I realized that nursing wasn't exactly the Florence Nightingale fantasy I signed up for. My first year, peak COVID, baptism by bleach wipes. I made it through, took a travel assignment, wound up going seasonal, went staff, somehow became a charge nurse. Yeah, I'm still unclear how that even happened. All on a PCU that might as well have been ICU. Turns out I actually love PCU though. Not for the chaos, but for the brain work. I like to think my anxiety needs something to that's like productive to actually chew on. So by year 3, I was out of state, took my first travel assignment that was actually not in my state. Back on a cardiac step down at one of those hospitals chains that nurses whisper about in Facebook groups like it's Voldemort. Yeah. And now it's year 5. I'm back. Seasonal cardiac step down gig. Getting canceled more often than a TikToker with no filter. Apparently, I'm too expensive. And get this, it took me 5 years to actually do chest compressions on a real human being. Not a mannequin with a dead-eyed stare, a real one. What can I say? I like to keep my patients from going anywhere near the light. That code popped my CPR cherry, and the week after that, 2 more of my patients decided to play dead just to test my reflexes. Fun fact, all of them survived. Let's see. Things that I love. I love complicated drips, stable vented trach patients. I love weaning oxygen. I love teaching students who still think that nursing is a calling. Things that make me gag. Chest tubes. For some reason, I'm like terrified that they are going to just come out randomly. It's just there's too much that can happen, okay? I'll take them all day if you make me. Not my favorite. Vomit, hate vomit, can't stand it, and colostomy bags. I will literally wear 2 masks to change a colostomy bag, empty a colostomy bag, anything. So, fun fact about me, bonus points. I am a total pro at placing rectal tubes. I know. And what I'm talking about is like Olympic level. So I've added that to my resume under special skills. And this is kind of like I don't know if a sentimental thing to me. Oddly enough, I am also the perfect nurse for end of life, like any kind of end of life care, transition. I always find that sweet spot with meds and like comfortability that makes them just kind of transition easier. I also manage to pour all the compassion that I usually keep locked away into them. And I also am able to contribute that to their family. Because believe it or not, underneath the sarcasm and caffeine, there's an actual heart somewhere in here. So, yeah, that's me. Welcome to the Broken Nurse, where sarcasm is a coping skill, caffeine is a food group, and every shift is a story you wouldn't believe if you didn't live it. So, I'm going to give you the short version of how I went from bright eyed to broken. And this is Kitsu, by the way. He wanted to join us, apparently. So, once upon a time, I was a bright eyed, bushy tailed new nurse who actually believed that I could make a difference. I showed up early, I color coded my brain sheet, packed my version of healthy lunches, and said things like, I just love helping people. It's adorable, right? Well, then I met healthcare. So fast forward a few years, and I've been emotionally waterboarded by charting, short staffing, and patients who Googled their diagnosis and would like to speak to the manager of medicine. My scrub pockets went from snacks and alcohol swabs to trauma, sarcasm, and the tears of new grads that still think teamwork means something. Thank you. So somewhere between the first code brown and the third rapid and management's 15th pizza party for morale, that sweet little new nurse died. And she didn't go quietly either. She coded 3 times and I called it. Now I'm like what I like to call myself a seasoned nurse. So I'm seasoned. I'm spicy. And the translation for that means broken, caffeinated, and highly flammable. Hence the red hair. Duh. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. I no longer dream of saving lives. I dream of working somewhere with functioning equipment and enough staff to pee before 3 p.m. Okay. I used to chart like it would be audited by God Himself. Now I write just enough to keep myself out of court. I used to say, no problem, when someone asked me for help. Now I just stare until they realize that it was, in fact, a problem. So, yeah, I went from bright eyed and bushy tailed to the broken nurse, who we are today. And honestly, I'm thriving, really. I've reached the final stage of nursing, dark humor, good boundaries, and zero emotional bandwidth. Do you have anything to say about this? No? He has nothing to add. He just wants to be cute and an orange cat. So. So you may be asking yourself, why this podcast? Because therapy is expensive, and honestly, complaining into a microphone is way cheaper. The Broken Nurse started as too many stories of, you won't believe what happened on my shift, mixed with sleep deprivation, caffeine, and just enough gallows humor to make it socially acceptable. Every shift hands me enough chaos to either start a podcast or a controlled substance habit. And since podcasting doesn't require a DEA license, here we are. So, this is a podcast for nurses who've cried in the supply room, laughed during a code, and charted their trauma under other. It's for the ones who've survived back to back shifts, bottomless charting, and that one patient who swears their cousin knows the hospital director. It's for the ones who have the kind of humor HR wouldn't approve of, but other nurses immediately understand, like me. I created The Broken Nurse because nursing isn't the squeaky clean profession that you see in commercials. It's raw, it's darkly funny, it's mentally exhausting, and it's weirdly addictive. It's a world where you can go from laughing with your coworkers to holding a patient's hand as they take their last breath. And somehow, some way, you still have to clock back in the next day like nothing happened. So, this podcast is my love letter, or maybe it's my therapy session. I don't know, we'll figure that out. It's to every nurse who's ever been broken by this job, but still shows up anyway. It's for the ones who find humor in the horror, grace in the chaos, and friendship in the kind of trauma bonding that only nurses truly understand. Because if we don't laugh about it, we'll cry. And let's be real, the supply room is already out of tissues. So, hey, Rosalind, what does it mean to be a broken nurse? Well, I'm glad you asked. Being a broken nurse means waking up every day and mentally asking yourself, do I really need this job? Spoiler alert, you do, because bills. You're an adult, and unfortunately, life is not free. Being a broken nurse is when your empathy tank has run dry and you've just perfected the art of nodding and saying, while simultaneously wondering if you turned off the IV alarm. God, I hate those IV alarms. It's when the sound of the call light makes you question your life's decisions. But here you are, still showing up. It's kind of heroic, right? Yeah, it's mostly tragic, really. Knowing that you're broken is when you respond to an emergency with, okay, what now? Instead of, oh no. Yeah, you're broken. If you're using your vacation days just to sit in a dark room and stare at the wall for 72 hours, congratulations. You're one of us. And if you've ever thought, I wonder what it's like to sit down, you're definitely broken. So, our mission here for this podcast, The Broken Nurse, is about finding solidarity in our collective breakdowns. Because let's face it, there's a lot of them. It's about celebrating the nurses who are held together with duct tape, caffeine, and a strong sense of sarcasm. At least duct tape comes in something other than the silver crap. You can have animal print, you can have stars, you can have stripes. Hey, duct tape is not all that bad. I'm held together with duct tape. We believe in dark humor as self-care. If you can't laugh about it, you'll definitely cry. And we don't have the emotional capacity to do that right now. So, dark humor it is. We believe in calling out the real struggles of nursing, like how nurses are expected to do 12 tasks at once, but we still can't get the day off when we're half dead. It's a real thing. And we believe in sharing in the broken moments because pretending that we've got it all together, yeah, that's not happening here. So if you haven't already realized it, you're going to love The Broken Nurse, or at the very least, tolerate it while you're hiding in the supply room, pretending to catch up on charting. This podcast is for the nurses who have one foot in compassion and the other in complete emotional burnout. The ones who can start an IV, fix a vent, calm a family, and still have enough energy left to roast administration's latest wellness initiative. Here we talk about the side of nursing that they don't show on recruitment posters, the chaos, the caffeine, the chronic trauma, and the kind of humor that would get you written up if HR ever heard it. You'll laugh, you'll cringe, and you'll say, "Oh my God, same," at least 12 times an episode. I guarantee it. This isn't the podcast for the perfect nurses who still pack bento box lunches and smile through charge report. No. This is for the ones who've accepted that sarcasm is a coping mechanism, burnout is a lifestyle, and the call light will go off the second you sit down. It's Murphy's Law. So, whether you're driving to another 12-hour shift, decompressing after one, or just hate listening because misery loves company, the Broken Nurse is your people. Welcome to the club you never even meant to join, but you might as well laugh about it now. Next week's episode of The Broken Nurse is called Double Shifts and Overtime, because who needs a life, right? Where we dive deep into the glamorous world of back-to-back shifts, charting at 3 a.m., and wondering when exactly we signed up to live at the hospital. We'll talk about the stages of overtime grief, denial, it's just one extra shift, bargaining, I'll sleep next week, and acceptance, yes, I live here now. Plus a few survival tips for when your body runs on caffeine, sarcasm, and pure spite. So clock back in, Buttercup, because rest is for nurses who have boundaries. We don't know her. Let's go ahead and recap because I know half of you zoned out somewhere between the trauma bay and my emotional breakdown. So today we covered how nursing takes your soul, your sanity, and your lunch break. But hey, at least you get a free badge reel and some trauma bonding, right? We laughed, we cried, we probably violated HIPAA in spirit, if not in letter. And somehow, we're still showing up for the next shift like it's a toxic ex that we just can't quit. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, congratulations, you're just as broken as I am. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your favorite overworked coworker, and maybe, just maybe, write a 5-star review before your next code brown. Until next time, stay caffeinated, stay charting, and remember, no one's coming to save us, but at least we have each other and snacks. This is Rissa Lynn signing off before my pager starts trauma dumping again.